Welcome back to some Celeste. I'm Dear Darling, and we'll face Inner Demons and reach a summit together in what's probably going to be the most tedious video of all time, because we are on this part, and I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, I'm actually kind of sure this number 3 is going to take us the majority of this video, which is, you know, I don't want to be like a self-fulfilling prophecy, where I'm like, oh, it's going to take us, you know, entire video, then I actually do spend the entire video just trying to beat this section. But this part is really hard. We've spent a lot of time on it already, and I don't think we've even come kind of close to beating it. It's a fact you have to do these very precise dash upwards wall kicks twice in a row, which is going to be the difficult part. Well, obviously, but the entire thing is going to be a difficult part. If it was easy, it wouldn't be a precision platform and all that. What am I doing? But yeah, just in case, I've looked up all not looked up, sorry. I checked my previous videos is what I should say. To see if I could potentially find the crystal heart. I forgot that we actually did find the crystal heart. It's locked behind a, not paywall, but it's locked behind a location where we need to collect 6 gems. I checked where I found 2 of the gems in my previous video, and you know, it doesn't take a genius to figure it out. I'm pretty sure that there's a hidden gem in every single chapter. In fact, I even mentioned it on the video. So I don't know where those other gems are, but I've made a note of whether two that we found are which chapters we're missing a gem in. So, you know, hopefully we can look out for it. I didn't really spend much time scouring over potential locations for it because I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to watch 2 hours of myself playing Celeste. A little bit of a self-derogatory humour, yeah, but I don't know, I deal with myself all the time. I don't want to deal with myself even more than usual. You know, I get enough of me just like thinking about life. I don't know why I'm going with this. Basically, I'm just trying to spin the water wheel. And what water wheel? Spin the wheel of fortune. And see what random things spring to mind. Apparently this is what my stream of consciousness decides is an appropriate conversation. Oh, this part is going to be so difficult. This really feels like doing a Pantheon of Hallownest, where I just spent like 6 episodes or something in a row just trying to do it and get to not the finals, the fight against, spoilers, the final boss, you know? I was going to spoil it for you, and I was like, nah, you know what? I mean, Hollow Knight's quite an old game. I don't know. This is so difficult. Wait, now I think about it, we could just immediately kick off a football game right now instead of playing Celeste. No, I'm joking. I mean, like, kick off a wall. Not kick off this wall. I mean, kick off that small wall there. Do we get the same distance if we... It doesn't seem like we do. And it probably just drains our stamina. We probably don't need to go as quick as we are going, because we probably have a little... Since this isn't a huge amount of time to have to hold on to a wall for. Hold a minute. Yeah. We can probably take our time and hang on that spike block once next time we actually manage to grab onto it, which is tenuous to say the least. We should figure out, okay, so if we put our hand there, we jump over. We got to find exactly where we need to be to actually grab onto this block. And it seems like having the hand just about here is enough in almost every situation. We had to hold left for... Once we get the feel of it, that's when it's all over. That's when we'll actually get attempts at doing the wall kick. But for now, it's actually getting a chance to even do the wall kick is the very difficult part in the first place. You might be saying, hey, you know, dear darling, why don't you try doing it a different way? Perhaps this isn't quite the way you're meant to solve a problem, and you're meant to do something different, you know? They say that Einstein once said that the definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Well, to be fair, I'm not repeating exactly the same thing over and over again. I am changing up, like trying to change my jump trajectory every single time. Well, not every single time, but trying to get it to a consistent level where I can actually make it over. But the thing is, I don't really know what else you can do here. We only have 2 jumps. There's no places to stand along here, so we need to have 2 jumps. And the clearest places, we need 1 jump at the end to actually get upwards, and we need 1 jump here to actually get upwards onto the block above us. It's possible. There's a little secret hidden away, which would make it easier. No, I missed. You know what, I just thought, we could actually jump up onto the wall, fall down and dash upwards, and we'd already be in line with a wall. So we wouldn't have to do the lining up downwards. Oh no, wait, we had to dash up to reach a wall, don't we? I don't think we can jump up and just reach that wall. Yeah, the fact we had to do this twice, no, only once in a row, now I look at it. We had to do this overhead the spike jump twice in a row, but we only had to dash up once in a row. And it's going to be so sad if we get up there and we don't have enough stamina to climb up the entire way, you know? No, stop it. Celeste. You're not even called Celeste. Madeline. Madeline! Maybe I'm not holding a jump button long enough. So I'm not exactly getting over. Maybe I should just hold it down. I don't get it, because sometimes we make it like super far up and sometimes we don't. Okay, well. That's actually quite a long climb upwards to the second one, so I think we do actually need to conserve some stamina. The question is, how much stamina? When? When do we turn around in midair just to actually grab onto the thing? I don't know, but we're getting the lineups, you know? Once you've got the lineups, it's easy to recreate the same thing over and over again to a certain degree. There's another like sport or hobby which requires lineups, but I can't really think what right now. Not like rugby lineups, but like oh, you know what? I was thinking of CS:GO where you had to like. Sorry, I keep coughing and sneezing. Do this very specific, like well, maybe not just CS:GO, but CS:GO is the one that originally comes to mind, I suppose. Like Valorant as well, when you had to like specifically look at this direction and, you know, like look at this man, line yourself up with this one, and then throw it with this amount of power, and you'll land the perfect smoke or flashbang to cover whatever choke point you want. Which, to be honest, like I probably talked about this before, maybe in an Animal Crossing video, I don't know. Shooters aren't super my thing. And the fact that doing specific lineups like that are so extremely not my thing, it just sort of, I don't know, discourages it even more to a certain extent. You might say, hey, but didn't you like really like playing Rainbow Six Siege? Yeah, but like Rainbow Six Siege, there's not as many lineups, and the lineups are, to be fair, limited to certain characters who actually need to do these lineups. And a lot of times you can do perfectly well without them. Siege is much more about map knowledge, and to a certain extent, where you might say lineups are map knowledge, and you know, I actually agree with you. They are map knowledge, but I mean like line of sight angles and strategies rather than Twitch reactions, which, to be fair, are important, but I'm not also great at, which is probably contributes to my, not disdain for shooters, but apathy is probably a better word to put it. Shooters are cool, but I can't play it for a huge amount of time, you know. And eventually I'm just like, I'm bored. I don't want to do this anymore. I'd rather be doing something else. Which, you know, I feel like is a... Ooh. It's so difficult. So, I also need to take the backplate off my Steam controller so I don't actually randomly hit it, because nothing will be more tragic than making a jump and accidentally dashing off because I hit the back button. Yeah, I forgot what I was saying. But, and yeah, I just looked and I was like, that's way too far. Maybe we can make that jump. No, we need a dash. Boulder dash. Do you think we could... I'm just trying to think, maybe if we can get like the sickest diagonal dash off here, we can actually skip this part out entirely. I actually got the jump. That's going to be so difficult. I'm trying to see if we just hold down the jump button. Does it do an automatic wall click, or do we? No, we do have to actually time it. We had to do quite a low wall kick as well to even get high enough above the spikes. Now I'm looking at it. So yeah. I wasn't kidding when I said I'm pretty sure we're going to spend this entire episode just on this section. And possibly even the next section as well. Section 3, Section 2, Section 1 all might get their own episode, because presumably the final challenges, well, kind of to a certain extent. I mean, we still got the core, but the final challenges and the final ascent to the B-side. So they should be challenging. Like, why wouldn't they be? It's not like in their job description, but it's like kind of the expectation. We need to practice like tiny jumps outwards, like jumping out 1 block. That's which I'm trying to practice here. No, we need to jump vertically upwards. We need to do that basically, like hua, hucha, hua. Sorry, kung fu noises. Yeah, I mean, there's always like spikes in difficulty in games, and I suppose I should find myself lucky that I haven't had to spend like an entire episode on just one singular section as of yet. But there was that one part where I spent like 15 minutes on the B-side, I think, in the ruins, maybe? With the eyeball monster. That was not fun. But I'll be honest, part of it is me distracting myself with just trying to talk about whatever, you know? Even though I've got about a year's experience now of simultaneously talking and playing a video game at the same time, it's still difficult, you know? It's not an easy task, and if you think it's easy, you should definitely try it for yourself. It's surprisingly challenging to have a coherent thought and train a conversation, even more, make it entertaining. Do I make it entertaining? No, I don't think I'm the most entertaining speaker in the world, but it's, you know, sometimes just having something to fill in the gaps is nice. Why do you think we get all these like highlight medley montages of people playing games? It's because, you know, there's silence, we're concentrating, we're trying to get the good plays in. You know what I'm trying to do? Not do that. I'm trying to play badly. I don't know what I was going about. It doesn't make any sense, to be honest, but no, I'm not trying to play badly. That's something like someone with less self-confidence about, no, who thinks too highly of himself, is probably a better way to put it, would say, to try and mask the fact that they're actually trying really hard, you know? I'm trying, maybe not my best exactly, because if I was trying my best I'd just be absolutely silent, you know? But I don't like to keep silent this sort of thing, you know? If I wanted to keep silent, why would I record a video in the first place? No, if you want to see a no commentary playthrough, just go see no commentary playthrough, which is quite a common thing on YouTube, to be honest. And to a certain extent, it's very nice. Because I feel like having commentary in a playthrough, it kind of depends if you actually like the person playing or not, you know? Like, not everyone's going to look at this video and be like, oh, I want to see what Celeste is like, and then you have this, you have like, oh, why won't this person just, like, shut up? You know, I'm talking about myself, not like, I'm not talking, like, adversely to other content creators on YouTube. I'm talking about myself, because I'm just constantly talking the entire time. They're probably like, I just want to see some gameplay of Celeste, like, shut up. But, you know, that's why no commentary playthroughs. They're here for us. So people who, instead of now, like, being angry at me for wanting to talk over a video game, which, you know, people aren't in the first place, they can go look up a no commentary playthrough, and even more so in story games, you know. I love my story games. I like to be a little bit quippy at it sometimes. Or say my thoughts on what I think is going to happen. If I even do that sometimes. But sometimes people just want to see the story, you know? Which is actually, I saw this as a very interesting thing about how story games, like mechanical games tend to do pretty well when a YouTuber or similar plays them. Because you can't really experience mechanics secondhand, you kind of have to play the game for yourself to get the mechanics, or the gameplay loop, or the whatever going on. But story games you can kind of experience just by watching them. And there was a thing with Life is Strange, but the amount of like discourse about Life is Strange and fans, and the attention that Life is Strange videos got, and fan theories and fan art and all that sort of thing, was not proportional to like the game sales. And partly it's due because Life is Strange is quite well, is straight up a story driven game. You know, instead of just trying to feel bad, let's just try and actually get the good dash again. Life is Strange is a story-driven game by nature. You know, you follow Maxine. Oh, that was so close. We were about a hair's breadth off of wall kicking it, kicking with you. Yeah, so you can sort of live the story, I suppose, by watching someone else play it. You might say, hey, I'm branching past in Life is Strange. Different choices lead to different actions. Yeah, but then there's also people who, I guess you could watch multiple different people play the game and see their choices, and in the end, the choices, some choices do matter a lot, i.e. Kate in that story. If you know, you know. If you don't, I won't spoil it for you, because, you know, the fact it's a story-based game, you kind of don't want to be spoiled on the story, is my guess. So yeah, some choices do have permanent effects, some choices don't, you know, some of them are just different dialogue options, and you'll still get the same overarching story in the end, perhaps missing out on certain scenes and whatnot, depending on how things go. Yeah, which makes me wonder. So I guess a lot of Life is Strange, say, money making must come from like merchandise or something similar to that, right? If people are a fan of a series but not necessarily purchasing the games, then what else can you do about it? Now, Life is Strange is kind of cool. I never played it because I guess I'm kind of like I'm one of the same people. I like the series. I've never played the game because I didn't buy the first Life is Strange one. I watched someone else play it. I didn't buy Life is Strange 2 because I watched someone else play it. I think I might change. I might probably actually buy a Life is Strange 3 and play it. Life is Strange Colors, which a few trailers have been released about a girl. I can't remember her name, like Alex or something, who can see like people's auras, which is like, you know, that wild like sympathies, empathy sort of thing, which isn't a thing. I don't think you can have sympathies for empathy, but that sort of thing appeals to me, I guess. Like I like the concept of a time traveling one, but I didn't want to spend money on the game. The second one is okay. It's a bit on the nose, I think, with its message. Not that Life is Strange is known for its subtlety or its anything like that. Well, actually, maybe it kind of is. I don't know. It's been a while since I remember Life is Strange 1. Life is Strange 1 is a little bit on the nose, but it wasn't like too on the nose. Life is Strange 2 is very on the nose, to be honest. Which, you know, your mileage may vary according to it. But I did like Life is Strange 1 a lot more than Life is Strange 2. Life is Strange 2 was interesting. It was an interesting diversion, but, yeah. I'm interested to see how Life is Strange 3 goes, to be honest. I think the thing that, like... Oh, we did it, but I held right. Why? That's actually a good way to do it. Okay. I just had to have faith that I hit it, you know? But I mean, there's no point in not immediately holding left as soon as I press jump anyway, because if I didn't hit it, then I wouldn't make it over in the first place. If I did hit it, then I have a chance of making it over. Yeah, so I'm interested to see how Life is Strange 3 goes. But yeah, no, what I was saying is Life is Strange 1 had the most interesting part, because I mean the entire series, I don't know how many there's going to be, and I guess it's an anthology, maybe it's going to be like 5 of them or something. But it's all about, you know, ordinary people with supernatural powers in a certain sense, and Life is Strange 1 had probably the best one, because time travel is one that just so synergistically works well with story mode. A story-based game with branching dialogue options. It means you can rewind, or that's probably why a lot of people could just watch one episode or one playthrough of Life is Strange 1, is you can always choose an option, rewind, and see how it affects it. See how dialogue changes, and then, you know, in the short term at least, choose a different option, if you wish. But yeah, but Life is Strange 2 didn't really have that. It still had, obviously, the branching dialogue options and things of that ilk, but without that time travel option to basically explore the different conversational dialogue options, it doesn't detract, but it lacks potential, I suppose, in that aspect. It lacks a bit of the intrigue about it, because Life is Strange 1, you could choose whatever you want, but you couldn't rewind too far back. You could only rewind into the immediate past. So it means you could only change short-term decisions, but you won't see the long-term ramifications of it, which is interesting. So it's sort of like a weird meta thing where you think you're choosing the right option, but you're trying to think, what about long-term? Is this the best option? I don't know. So that's how you can still keep your players in suspense in that way. And an especially powerful thing they did is mild Life is Strange 1 spoilers, but if you haven't played it or watched it at this point, are you going to? That the player builds such a reliance on the time travel mechanic on trying to explore the different options that eventually you just, I guess it becomes secondhand. You look at all the options and then, you know, rewind time and then do it again, sort of like perfecting things. But at a certain point, it means you don't necessarily have to pay as much attention to your surroundings or the story of the characters anymore, because you can always just change your mind with whatever answer you say, and unlock new options, which is very interesting. But then a very pivotal point with Kate, of course, on top of the building, is they take away now your option to rewind. So it's sort of like a test for you. It's like, have you actually been paying attention to your characters? Have you been relying on your powers too much, rather than actually trying to relate to them and trying to understand their problems. And of course, you know, the problem you had to solve is Kate feels like no one actually is on her side, no one understands her, and it's really actually putting you to a test where you had to answer the questions for the first time to prove yourself that you actually have been paying attention to Kate in the first time. And if you haven't, then she'll find out because you'll just be randomly guessing and you'll select the wrong answers. And I was like, that's such a clever moment. That's such a clever narrative moment in the game. So much so that I almost wish I played it for myself so I could see like what my reaction would be, because you know, people's discoveries in like twists and stories for the first time are always like amazing. Like, you know, Undertale's always a big one when people like found out that you could go through the game without having to kill anyone, and leveling up was actually a bad thing in certain aspects. But obviously, you know, because I only heard about it because the game got so popular before the mechanic, you know, there's only so much, oh, just play it with, don't read anything about it, go immediately play it, which is not very convincing to people to actually go play a game in the first place, especially if they're not story driven, because I actually thought Undertale was just like a regular old RPG. I was like, I don't know if I really care about an RPG that much. But, you know, along the way I heard that you could play the game without killing anyone. You could just make friends around. I was like, oh, that sounds like an interesting mechanic for an RPG, which inspired me to play it. And then, you know, I still got to share in some of the fun of playing story, you know. But without it, I don't know. Experiencing story games like that, like moments for the first time, is really something special. In any medium, to be honest. Like, you know, no, I am your father. No, sorry. But the thing is, how do you convince someone to play something because of that moment without telling them about that moment? It's like, oh, you know, something big happens. Well, now I know something's happening, so I'm expecting it to a certain degree. And if I'm looking out for it, why is the screen so bright right now? It's just like, oh, you've been here so long. Do you want to have a shortcut? But I will persevere. I really hope this is actually the right way to do it. It'd be a shame to waste half an hour just trying to do this and be like, oh, this is not the right way to do it. It looks like a right way to me, and I cannot think of another way to do it, so. Gotta turn around at last second later. I gotta do it basically when I'm above a second spike, probably. Maybe even before that. Okay, that was too early, that was above the first spike. Instead of turning around, maybe I should just stop moving. I mean, that's kind of the same as turning around, except for not as extreme, I suppose. If only we could find out the proper place to jump from it on the top platform, so we didn't have to do this shenanigans all the time. But it has been the most consistent way to do it so far. It's so annoyingly difficult. I wonder if there's a mechanic I'm forgetting, which would make this easier. It's just like, you couldn't like line up the wall kick with this thing we're going to grab onto, you know? That'd be too easy. I mean, I guess, but like, I'm looking for a challenge, but still. It's hard to practice when you can't even get here in the first place. It's just so difficult. This is why I like story games, you know, they only challenge me emotionally rather than mechanically. Make me feel like a bumbling fool. Okay. Nope. You can certainly make that, I think, with a good wall bounce. We should actually practice making the jump with a... How low down do we need to be to actually make it? Because it'd be a shame to actually make the jump and then, you know, just fail it in the first place. It's just... We must do it from so low down. That's my only possible explanation, I think, to actually make it over, because we get a lot of vertical height from it. We don't get that much horizontal distance. I wonder if we... No, we can't. I was going to be like, I wonder if we can wall kick him and immediately go over the top. Oh my gosh, it's nearly been half an hour. I'm sorry, it's not a lot of progress, but... Okay, if we get to the end of this episode and I still haven't done this, I'll at least check with a guide to see that this is exactly how I'm meant to do it. The mechanical execution is an aside from it's the difficult part, not the figuring out so much, because we figured out what we need to do. I'm pretty sure it's just the execution of it is pretty difficult. I can't even imagine trying to do a deathless run of this and getting like all the way up here and being like, oh. I mean, I guess you just sort of just practice it over and over and again until you can do it consistently, but still, it's like, it's not easy. And I think that kind of goes without saying. It's always easy to like look at someone playing and be like, oh, that looks easy, just do this, but you know, actually executing is the difficult part in the first place, isn't it? And we've only got about 5 minutes left of attempts, so it's really, we're kind of running out of time to nail this down, but you know, so be it. Ah dear. So how's your day been, you know? I know there's sort of more Animal Crossing banter, but still. There's also one directional. If you made it this far, tell me how your day's been. Oh, that was close. I don't know even why I'm doing it. We can get this. We can get this. We just need to dash a bit earlier. It's probably better to dash a little bit earlier upwards on this part rather than later. So you sort of, there's probably a little bit of leeway where you can clip off the wall rather than like clip off a corner and it'll still just like right you properly. But if you're too far gone, then it's just dashing the wrong direction. I mean, I could use the D-pad, but to go directly upwards, but I think that's a bit of a fruitless effort. The Steam D-pad, not so great. It's a very much, I don't know. I mean, it's a touchpad, so it doesn't feel so great to push it with a haptic feedback in it. Great as a touchpad, not so great as a directional pad. Unless you can just touch it and jump, but you know, that would probably be more of an inconvenience than a convenience. Because I'd randomly brush up against it. Which happened a lot in another game. I think Snakebird, that might have happened a lot in. Maybe Hollow Knight as well, I don't know. Hollow Knight you look up and down at it, so it's not really that big a deal. Oh. I wonder how close we actually need to be. It's so hard. You can tell that I'm actually trying to concentrate and get this done now, you know? Spending like 1 hour on this platforming issue is going to be tedious. Tedium to the max. It's going to take us like 2 months to finish this last final stretch of the B-side. Oh, I jumped too far. We need to basically jump and then dash immediately upwards. So we basically need to do that. Okay, just getting that hand movement. Oh, I didn't press jump. I did a hand movement, but I didn't press jump. You know, something like that. I've got the muscle memory down. It's easy. Or something. Oh, come on. Just like reach out your hand a bit more, Madeline. Grab onto it, you know. You've been doing so well so far. Just stretch out a little bit longer. Get a few more inches on your arms. Actually, that kind of sounds like you're building muscle, which, you know, fair enough if you want to. Do whatever. Build muscle. Be strong. Well, she probably is incredibly strong if she's a climber, right? Oh! I don't even know if we can make it without wall hop. That's my problem right now. That didn't look long enough. But if I go too much higher, I hit my head on the ceiling. I don't know. We'll round us up this episode here. I'm going to check that this is actually what you're meant to do. And hopefully we can execute it next time. It's been half an hour on the same bit, but hopefully the commentary's at least been something. Existent is one word. But anyway, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Celeste. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares are greatly appreciated. Links down below. I hope we can see each other again, but for now it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.